Guys, if you run this code, you will immediately get false. But why? The answer lies in one of the most important string concepts in Java, and that is string constant pool. And trust me, this is the backbone of understanding double equals and dot equals. Now, I have a string here, s1 is equal to Java and s2 is equal to what? Java. Now, there are multiple ways to create a string object in Java. And one of the most common ways is this type. Whenever a string value is written directly inside double quotes, it's called as string literal. Every object in Java lives inside heap memory, and inside heap there is one area called string constant pool. And in this pool, only string literals get stored but with some rules. Now, when the JVM executes this line, it first looks inside the string constant pool and asks, do we already have Java inside the string constant pool? And if the answer is no, JVM creates a new string object in string constant pool just like this. And this Java will go inside this object, right? And now this S1 will point to this SEP object. Now again there is string S2 is equal to Java. Now this S2 is again a string literal, right? Now JVM sees this Java, it first asks SEP, hey SEP, do we have this type of literal inside SEP? If SEP says yes sir we have, then JVM says okay, I will not create the same object again inside the string constant pool. But why? Why does not JVM simply create a new object every time? Now see here, if JVM created new object for every line, we would end up with something like this. 7 separate objects containing exactly the same value. Right now it's 7, but what about tomorrow if 10 million people choose their country India? Does that make sense? So the JVM is saying, why waste memory storing the same string object again and again? Instead, all variables will simply point to the same India object. This actually saves memory and improves performance. And that is the whole idea behind the string constant pool. Which means this S2 will point to the existing Java object. Now see here, this is called double equal operator. Double equal is used for a reference comparison, which means it checks are both reference variables pointing to the same object or not. If both variables point to the same object, double equal will return true. If they both point to a different objects, double equal will return false. Now this S1 is pointing to this object and this S2 is also pointing this object, which means S1 double equal to S2 will return what? True, right? Now example number 2 guys. S1 is equal to Python, S2 is Java and S3 is again Python. Now let us execute it step by step. Now the very first thing JVM sees this. Now because this is a string literal, JVM checks SEP and asks, hey SEP, do we already have Python? SEP replies, no sir, since Python is not present inside SEP, JVM creates it like this. And what will go inside this, which is word Python. And now this S1 will point to this SEP object, right? Now again JVM executes this line and sees word Java. Now it asks SEP, hey SEP, do we already have Java? SEP replies, no sir, we don't have Java here. Since Java is not present, so JVM will create a new object in SEP just like this. And now what will go inside this object, which is word Java, right? And now this S2 will point to this Java object. Now again JVM executes this line and it sees word this Python. Now JVM checks SEP and asks, hey SEP, do we already have Python? SEP replies, yes sir, we have Python in SEP. So the JVM does not create a new object. Instead, this S3 will point to the existing Python object. Now see here, S1 double equal to S2. Are they both pointing the same object or not? Now see here, S1 is pointing this object and S2 is pointing this object, which means they are not pointing to the same object. So the answer will be what? False. What? False. Now again S1 double equal to S3. Now see here, S1 is pointing this object and S3 is also pointing the same object, which means double equal will return true if both variables pointing to the same object. So the answer will be what? True. Now S1 dot equals S2. Now what is this dot equals guys? Dot equals is used for content comparison. Content means here what is inside the object, right? So this dot equals is saying, sir, I don't care where the objects are. I don't care whether they are the same object or different objects. I only care what is inside them. If both objects contain the same value, I will return true. And if both objects contain different values, I will return false. Now if you see here, S1 dot equals S2. Now what is inside S1? Python. And what is inside S2? Java. Are they same? No. And that's why it will be what? False. Now again, S1 dot equals S3. Now S1 is pointing to this object and contain what? Python. And this S3 is also pointing to this object and contain what? Python. And as per dot equal words, I don't care whether they are the same object or different objects. I only care what's inside them. And what is inside them, which is what? Python. So are they same? Yes. So the answer will be what? True. Now example number 3. More than 90% of beginners get confused by this line. Now if I ask you how many objects are created here, most people will say only one object. But that is the wrong answer, and that's exactly why many beginners get confused when they see examples like this. Now see here, JVM reads this type of statement from right to left. Now as per rule, when JVM sees this string literal, it first checks the string constant pool and asks, do we already have Java inside SEP or not? If it's not there, JVM will create one object in SEP, and inside that object Java will go, right? Now again, JVM moves to this new keyword. This new keyword has the power to order JVM. It's basically saying, hey JVM, I don't care if the object already exists, I want a brand new object. And whenever JVM sees this new keyword, it must create a new object. But this time not inside SEP, this time the object is created inside the normal heap. And what will go inside this object, which is what? Java. And this S1 will point to this normal heap object. Now you may ask, hey wait a minute, if Java already exists inside SEP, why does not S1 simply point to this object? Right? And the answer is because of this new keyword rule. What this new said, hey JVM, I don't care if the object exists or does not exist, I want a brand new object. So even though Java already exists inside the SEP, JVM does not make S1 point to this object. It must create a brand new object in heap and make S1 point to it. And that is the whole purpose of the new keyword. So which means this line will create only two objects, one inside the SEP and one inside the normal heap. Now guys, example number 4. String S1 is equal to Java, S2 is also Java but with new keyword, S3 is also Java but with new keyword. First JVM sees this Java. Because this is a string literal, so JVM will check in SEP. If Java is not present in SEP, JVM will create one object in SEP, and what will go inside SEP? That's what? Java, right? And this S1 will point to this Java object which is in SEP. Now when the JVM executes this line, it will go from right to left. So first it will see this Java. Now this Java is what? A literal. Now it will first check in SEP, do we have Java in SEP or not? But this time Java already exists, so JVM does not create another SEP object. But then JVM sees this new keyword. And as per rule, whenever JVM executes this new keyword, it must create a brand new object. So JVM creates another Java object in normal heap just like this. And what will go inside this object, which is what? Java. And now this S2 will point to this Java object. Now see line number 3. When JVM executes this type of statement, it will first check what? This Java. Because this Java is already exists in SEP, it will not create same object in SEP, right? Now again it moves to this new keyword. Now because of this new keyword rule, it will again create a new object in normal heap. And what will go inside this object is what? Java, right? And now this S3 will point to this Java object. Now see here, S1 double equal to S2. S1 is pointing this object and S2 is pointing this object. So are they same? No. So the answer will be what? False. Now again S1 dot equals S2. Now what's inside S1, which is what? This Java. Now what is inside this S2 is what? Java. So are they same? The answer will be what? Yes. Now see here, S1 double equal to S3. S1 is pointing this object and S3 is pointing to this object. So are they same? No. So the answer will be what? False. Now see here, S1 dot equals S3. Now as per dot equal words, sir, I don't care whether the objects are same or different. I only care what's inside them, right? So S1 is pointing this object and S3 is pointing this object. But what is inside S1, which is word Java, and what is inside S3, which is word Java? Are they same? Yes. So the answer will be what? True, right? Now example number 5. Now guys, before we analyze this example, I want to tell you something. Everything we have learned until now was part 1. But trust me, this is only the foundation. Because in part 2, things become much more interesting, where we will break down examples like this: compile time concatenation rules, run time concatenation rules, and what is intern method. Now guys, I'm not going to explain this example. This is your assignment. Take a sheet of paper and a pen and start analyzing it step by step the way we did throughout this video. Please do not use an IDE, do not run the code, and give me your answers in the comment section. Total string objects, how many objects will go into the SCP and how many will go into normal heap. And if you want part 2, let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching.